In the end, we would like not to be guilty while at the same time being dispensed of the effort of purifying ourselves. Not enough cynicism and not enough virtue. It is always easy to be logical. It is almost impossible to be logical to the bitter end. It is not true that the heart wears out, but the body creates this illusion. Without giving up anything on the plane of justice, yield nothing on the plane of freedom. Every act of rebellion expresses a nostalgia for innocence and an appeal to the essence of being. There is nothing abstract about pain. It is specific, it is real, and when it is intense, it is world-destroying. More and more, when faced with the world of men, the only reaction is one of individualism. Man alone is an end unto himself. Everything one tries to do for the common good ends in failure. I continue to believe that this world has no ultimate meaning, but I know that something in it has a meaning, and that is man, because he is the only creature to insist on having one. There are means that cannot be excused, and I should like to be able to love my country and still love justice. I don't want just any greatness for it, particularly a greatness born of blood and falsehood. I want to keep it alive by keeping justice alive. I used to advertise my loyalty, and I don't believe there is a single person I loved that I didn't eventually betray. And for all his life it would be kindness and love that made him cry, never pain or persecution, which on the contrary only reinforced his spirit and his resolution. Truth, like light, blinds. Falsehood, on the contrary, is a beautiful twilight that enhances every object. Does the end justify the means? That is possible. But what will justify the end? To that question, which historical thought leaves pending, rebellion replies the means. To know oneself, one should assert oneself. There are always reasons for murdering a man, but there is no justification for his existence. I enjoyed my own nature to the fullest, and we all know there lies happiness, although, to soothe one another mutually, we occasionally pretend to condemn such joys as selfishness. The future is the only kind of property that the masters willingly concede to the slaves. I like people who dream or talk to themselves interminably. I like them, for they are double. They are here and elsewhere. With rebellion, awareness is born. I looked up at the mass of signs and stars in the night sky and laid myself open for the first time to the benign indifference of the world. Basically, at the very bottom of life, which seduces us all, there is only absurdity, and more absurdity. And maybe that is what gives us our joy for living, because the only thing that can defeat absurdity is lucidity. Marxism is not scientific at the best, it has scientific prejudices. There are plagues, and there are victims, and it is the duty of good men not to join forces with the plagues. Retaliation is related to nature and instinct, not to law. Law, by definition, cannot obey the same rules as nature. A true masterpiece does not tell everything. Modern conquerors can kill, but do not seem to be able to create. Artists know how to create, but cannot really kill. Murderers are only very exceptionally found among artists. The most important thing you do every day you live is deciding not to kill yourself. God is not necessary to create culpability or to punish. Our fellow men are enough for that, helped by ourselves. What is a rebel? A man who says no. The gods had condemned Sisyphus to ceaselessly rolling a rock to the top of a mountain, whence the stone would fall back of its own weight. They had thought with some reason that there is no more dreadful punishment than futile and hopeless labor. One always has exaggerated ideas about what one doesn't know. What is true of all the evils in the world is true of plague as well. It helps men to rise above themselves. The mind's deepest desire, even in its most elaborate operations, parallels man's unconscious feeling in the face of his universe. It is an insistence upon familiarity, an appetite for clarity. Don/T walk behind me, I may not lead. Don/T walk in front of me, I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend. I would have given 10 conversations with Einstein for a first meeting with a pretty chorus girl. The most exhausting effort in my life has been to suppress my own nature in order to make it serve my biggest plans. Metaphysical rebellion is a claim motivated by the concept of a complete unity against the suffering of life and death, and a protest against the human condition both for its incompleteness, thanks to death, and its wastefulness, thanks to evil. Autumn is a second spring when every leaf is a flower. The slave and those whose present life is miserable, and who can find no consolation in the heavens, are assured that at least the future belongs to them. The future is the only kind of property that the masters willingly concede to the slaves. Lucifer also has died with God, and from his ashes has arisen a spiteful demon who does not even understand the object of his venture. All I know of morality I learned from football. But it is not easy. I have been thinking it over for years. While we loved each other, we didn't need words to make ourselves understood. But people don't love forever. A time came when I should have found the words to keep her with me, only I couldn't. Women are all we know of paradise on this earth. In the midst of winter, I found there was, within me, an invincible summer, and that makes me happy, for it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me, there is something stronger, something better, pushing right back. Independence is earned by a few words of cheap confidence. The literal meaning of life is whatever you are doing that prevents you from killing yourself. God put self-pity by the side of despair, like the cure by the side of the disease. If there is a soul, it is a mistake to believe that it is given to us fully created. It is created here, throughout a whole life. And living is nothing else but that long and painful bringing forth. The nobility of our calling will always be rooted in two commitments difficult to observe: a refusal to lie about what we know, and resistance to oppression. Believe me, religions are on the wrong track the moment they moralize and fulminate commandments. God is not needed to create guilt or to punish. Our fellow men suffice, aided by ourselves.